Good day, I'm Dr. T and welcome to my dining room table. Today I would like to talk about alkenes, naming them, and the fact that there's more isomers than I've mentioned so far. Okay, so let's look at a fairly simple alkene that will really highlight everything we're doing. Okay, so let's look at this guy. This one we would call butene, and we would say this is 2-butene. Okay, actually I have to draw the double bond, don't I? Okay, I'm going to put it in the middle, and this is going to be 2-butene. But there are two 2-butenes. Like, what? What? How? Well, let's look at the hydrogens. I've left the hydrogens off, but let me put the hydrogens back on. Of course, those guys, they get their 3 hydrogens. That's exciting. But here's the interesting one. Where does the last hydrogen go? If I put it there, that's one isomer. If I put it in the other spot, then it's not the same isomer. So this guy, which I have not left myself enough room for, this one we would call cis-2-butene. Cis meaning same, so the hydrogens are on the same side. We're actually looking at the main chain to determine which is on the same side, but if you look at the hydrogens, that's a lot easier. And the other one is trans-2-butene. And typically you'll see these italicized or if handwritten, underlined. The reason we highlight this in the name is that, once again, they're not quite the same chemical. They're close, but they are somewhat different, and thus they need different names. They will have slightly different melting points, slightly different chemical reactivities. Once again, they're just slightly different. If you're familiar with, trans, like in trans fats, yes, this is the trans in trans fats. Trans fats have double bonds that are in the trans configuration, whereas all normal fats have double bonds that are in the cis configuration. Trans fats are synthetically produced. They're a little bit more stable, but they have some health issues, which is why they're pretty much getting phased out. Okay, so that's cis and trans when it comes to double bonds, and that does add a little bit of extra complexity. Now, if you just see 2-butene, it means the author is being intentionally vague, or is just being vague for whatever reason as to whether or not it is in the cis configuration or the trans. Additionally, you will see another way of writing this using an E and a Z. This is an approach that is a little bit more complicated and not one that I'm going to jump into. Typically, the cis and trans is used for simple structures, and the E and Z, which stands for Etsi-Zaitsev and Zaitsev, is used for more complicated structures. Just depends on what you're working with. Either way, they have the same basic structure, although the way they're defined is somewhat different. So with that said, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in later videos.